Mount Spurr. The name itself carries a certain weight, doesn't it? This colossal peak, standing sentinel about 80 miles west of Anchorage, Alaska, is more than just a mountain. It's a volcano. And not just any volcano, but one that's currently showing signs of stirring from its slumber. The native Dena'ina people call it Kaidaskani, which rather poetically and accurately means that which is burning inside. Right now, that internal fire seems to be building. Scientists, those diligent observers of Earth's often cranky moods, are watching very closely. The ground around Spurr is restless, a subtle but persistent reminder of the immense power simmering just beneath the surface, a power that demands our utmost respect and attention. The Alaska Volcano Observatory, or AVO, as it's known to those in the know, has placed Mount Spurr under a yellow alert. Now, yellow in volcano speak doesn't mean panic and run for the hills. Not yet, anyway. It signifies a state of elevated unrest. Think of it as the volcano clearing its throat, making noises that suggest it might have something more significant to say. The instruments are picking up more chatter than usual. The mountain is not behaving quite as it normally does. This heightened vigilance is crucial because these are the early whispers that could, potentially, grow into a much louder roar, a geological pronouncement of considerable force. This brings a palpable sense of anticipation, mixed with a healthy dose of apprehension to the region. Experts suggest an eruption could be weeks or perhaps months away. That's the thing about volcanoes. They operate on their own, rather grand geological timescale, not our human-centric one. It's a waiting game, but one where the stakes are incredibly high. The uncertainty itself is a character in this unfolding drama. Residents in Anchorage and surrounding areas are acutely aware that the silent giant to their west might not remain silent for much longer. This isn't a matter of if, historically speaking, but when and how big the next event will be. A sobering thought indeed. It's worth remembering why Alaska is such a hotbed for volcanic activity. The state sits squarely on the Pacific Ring of Fire, a vast, horseshoe-shaped zone where tectonic plates jostle and collide with unimaginable force. This constant grinding tectonic ballet is responsible for most of the world's earthquakes and active volcanoes. Mount Spurr is just one of many fiery peaks born from this subterranean turmoil. The sheer scale of these forces, a slow-motion planetary dance, occasionally culminates in these spectacular and sometimes terrifying displays of nature's raw, untamed energy. It's a dynamic Earth, and Spurr is one of its more expressive features. The Earth itself is providing clues. Recently, there's been what scientists call an earthquake swarm around Mount Spurr. These aren't the kind of catastrophic quakes that level cities, but rather a flurry of smaller tremors. The Alaska Volcano Observatory reported detecting over 100 such earthquakes a week under the volcano, as of early May 2025. On May 14th, a magnitude 3.1 tremor was recorded, followed by several smaller ones closer to the summit on May 15th. In just one 24-hour period leading up to May 15th, a dozen shallow earthquakes shivered near the peak. Each little shake is like a tap on the shoulder, a reminder that something is definitely happening down below. It's not just the ground that's talking, the air is too. Mount Spurr has been exhaling, and its breath is rather telling. As of May 12th, 2025, an estimated 450 metric tons of sulfur dioxide were spewing from the peak's fumaroles each day. Fumaroles are essentially volcanic vents, nature's chimneys, and sulfur dioxide is a key gas that volcanologists look for. Its increased presence often signals that fresh magma is rising closer to the surface. This invisible gas, pungent and potent, is a chemical postcard from the depths, indicating that the internal plumbing of the volcano is active and changing, a significant sign of unrest. And then there are the more visible signs, for those who can see the mountain. In May 2025, observers noted a large plume of steam billowing from the 11,000-foot tall volcano. This isn't just morning mist. Scientists believe this steam is likely caused by magma, the molten rock from deep within the earth, heating up underground water. It's like a giant subterranean kettle starting to boil. The sight of steam and the smell of sulfur are classic indicators that a volcano is waking up, stretching its ancient limbs, and perhaps preparing for a more dramatic display of its internal energies. These are the kinds of observations that keep the AVO scientists very busy. To keep tabs on Spurr's every sigh and tremor, the AVO employs a sophisticated array of monitoring tools. This isn't just a person with a pair of binoculars. We're talking seismic sensors to detect earthquakes, webcams for visual monitoring, satellite data to spot ground deformation and heat signatures, and even infrasound devices to listen for explosions too low for human ears to hear. Matt Haney, the scientist in charge at the AVO, has mentioned that if activity ramps up further, the next big sign they'll be looking for is a volcanic tremor, a continuous, rhythmic shaking of the ground, distinct from the short, sharp shocks of individual earthquakes. One of the most significant concerns with an eruption from Mount Spurr is the ash. We're not talking about the fluffy gray stuff you find in a fireplace. Volcanic ash is made of tiny, jagged particles of rock, minerals, and volcanic glass. And if Spurr has a major eruption, as some scientists predict it might, it could send plumes of this abrasive material soaring up to 50,000 feet into the atmosphere. That's right into the cruising altitude of commercial jetliners. This isn't just a visibility problem. It's a serious mechanical threat. Jet engines and volcanic ash are a terrible combination, one that can lead to engine failure. When volcanic ash enters a jet engine, the intense heat can melt the particles, which then fuse onto the turbine blades and other critical components. This can disrupt airflow, cause the engine to lose power, or even shut down completely. The abrasive nature of the ash can also sandblast cockpit windows, rendering them opaque and damage sensitive flight control systems. Because of these severe risks, an ash cloud reaching such heights would almost certainly lead to widespread flight cancellations and potentially the shutdown of major airports. The skies would effectively become a no-fly zone over a vast area. Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport is a major hub, particularly for cargo. In fact, it's the fourth busiest cargo airport in the world, with over 8,000 cargo flights transiting through it each month. Fairbanks International Airport would also be at risk. A significant eruption from Spurr could cripple these vital transport links. History gives us a clear example. During Mount Spurr's 1992 eruption, Anchorage Airport was forced to close for about 20 hours. Scientists anticipate that the imminent eruption, should it occur, will likely be similar to the 1992 and 1953 events, featuring one or more explosive eruptions spewing ash for hours at a time. The aviation authorities aren't taking this lightly, of course. Contingency plans are in place. Anchorage Airport, for instance, is prepared to shut down operations and divert flights to Fairbanks, assuming Fairbanks itself isn't also affected by ash. However, the logistical challenge of rerouting thousands of flights, managing stranded passengers, and dealing with disrupted cargo shipments would be immense. An ash cloud doesn't respect flight schedules or international borders. It can drift for thousands of miles, potentially affecting air travel across continents. A stark reminder of how interconnected our modern world is, and how vulnerable it can be to nature's grander gestures. To understand the potential seriousness of the current situation, we only need to look back at Mount Spurr's previous performances. The eruption on August 18, 1992, is still vivid in the memory of many Alaskans. That event sent a massive ash cloud into the sky, which not only blocked sunlight, but also led to the aforementioned closure of Anchorage's airport. Air quality remained a concern for months afterward, with fine ash causing respiratory issues and general discomfort. The financial toll was also significant. with the municipality of Anchorage incurring nearly $2 million in damages, office closures, and extensive cleanup costs. And the 1992 event wasn't even Spurr's most dramatic in recent history. A major eruption in 1953 produced even more intense ashfall. Accounts from that time describe skies darkening over an astonishing 12,000 square miles. Imagine daylight being snuffed out by a gritty rain of volcanic particles. These historical accounts aren't just interesting anecdotes. They are crucial data points that help scientists model potential future scenarios and allow communities to grasp the scale of what they might face. The mountain has a well-documented history of being a rather disruptive neighbor when it chooses to be. Beyond the immediate danger of ash plumes to aviation, a significant eruption poses other threats. Ashfall can create hazardous conditions for communities on the ground, including Anchorage, home to nearly 300,000 people. Heavy ash can collapse roofs, contaminate water supplies, and make roads treacherous. While scientist in charge Matt Haney from AVO has stated that no communities are within the immediate danger zone of destructive mud flows or fast-moving avalanches of volcanic debris, pyroclastic flows, these remain potential hazards closer to the volcano. Furthermore, ash can cause abrasive damage to mechanical equipment and disrupt electrical services, adding another layer of complexity to any emergency response. In response to these looming possibilities, authorities in Alaska are urging residents to stay informed and be prepared. This isn't about causing panic, but about fostering resilience. Anchorage has reportedly been stockpiling essential supplies like food, water, and protective gear, such as N95 masks. Alaska's Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management has also issued fact sheets providing guidance to residents on how to prepare for ashfall and potential evacuations. The message is clear. While we cannot control the volcano, we can control our preparedness. Vigilance and readiness are the best defenses when facing the unpredictable power of nature.